A very good morning to everyone. Today, on the auspicious occasion of the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, I, Hana Binte Mansoor from Hamdard Public School, will pay him a tribute as the unsung freedom fighter. In 1956, when former British Prime Minister Clement Attlee visited India, then the governor of Bengal asked him one important question. He asked, after the Quit India movement subsided in 1942, there were no significant freedom movements in India. Then, in spite of having the opportunity to rule India, why did the Britishers leave? To which he replied that the role played by Netaji's Azad Hind Fauj was paramount in India being granted independence. And this one statement itself is enough to question the version of history taught in our school textbooks and the significant sacrifices made by Netaji and his Azad Hind Fauj. Netaji started climbing the ladders of Congress more quickly than anyone else. He became so popular that in the presidential elections of the Congress, he ended up defeating Dr. Pathabi, who was backed by Gandhiji himself. But as we all know, Netaji and Gandhiji had different ideologies. Gandhiji was all about non-violence, whereas Netaji believed that independence is not something that you request for. It is something that you fight and snatch from the rulers. In 1939, in spite of being the president, he resigned from Congress and left as a lone wolf to find another way to free India. And this is where the historic journey of Netaji began. During his journey on 17th of January 1941 at 1:30 p.m., Netaji disguised as a Pathan and went from India to Afghanistan, from Afghanistan to Russia. When the Russians did not help him out, he went to Germany, and that is where he met Adolf Hitler. But after some time, he realized Hitler was not in a position to help him out. So he finally comes to Japan. And these Japanese were so smart. They thought instead of sending their own army to defeat the British Raj in India, why not send the Indian soldiers who fought on behalf of the British Raj in 1942 as a separate army unit to fight the Britishers in India. So they found an army unit of them and recruited Captain Mohan Singh as the in charge of the Amen. And this army was called the Indian National Army or the Azad Hind Fauj. But the problem with this army was that the soldiers had completely lost their motivation because they almost felt like scapegoats being used for greed of power. And this is where Netaji came in, as he took control of the Azad Hind Fauj in 1943. He started delivering speeches to motivate the soldiers and established a purpose for them, that is to free India from the British Raj. He sat with them, he ate with them, he reinstated the lost patriotism in the soldiers. And this is when in one of the iconic speeches, Netaji uttered the words that will echo through the tunnels of time forever, when he said, "Tum mujhe khoon do, main tumhe azadi dunga." And because of this infectious enthusiasm, the Indian National Army was ready to fight with the strength of 40,000 soldiers. One of these regiments led Netaji to find three incredible commanders whose names were Prem Kumar Sehgal, Shahnawaz Khan, and Gurbakht Dhillon. And these three commanders took the international army all the way from Singapore to Myanmar, from Myanmar to Kohima, and from Kohima to Imperial. As it turns out, until this point, nobody in India knew that the INA was formed by Netaji, and the fact that they were coming to India not to fight for the Japanese, but for the freedom of India herself. And this was because the Britishers have very cleverly censored the press, because they knew if Indians came to know that the entire army is coming to fight, all these 25 lakh soldiers will start revolting and the rebellion will go out of control. But now that they had complete control of the prisoners, they made one big mistake. The Britishers thought about launching a psychological attack on the Indians. They wanted to set an example to show us what could happen if we revolted and supported Netaji against the Britishers. So they decided to conduct a public trial on the three commanders of Netaji, who were Dhillon, Sehgal, and Shahnawaz. This trial, my friends, is known as the Red Fort trial, which was held in the November of 1945. Because of this marketing of the rightful trial, everybody in India came to know about the Azad Hind Fauj and the fact that Netaji had formed this army to free India from the British Raj. And guess what? Just like Netaji strategized, the moment the Indian soldiers and the British army came to know about the Indian National Army, all these soldiers, including Navy, started revolting. And as the news spread, it started snowballing into a rebellion that the Britishers had never seen before. Lakhs of people took to the streets. Thousands of people started marching with Netaji's photo, and some even started beating British soldiers. And even the British Army and Navy started protesting with Netaji's photo. This event is known as the Naval Mutiny of 1946. Furthermore, hundreds of people gathered outside the Red Fort and started screaming slogans like Hindustan ki ek awaz, sehgal dillo shanawaz. 40 lakh ki ek awaz, sehgal dillo shanawaz. And just like Netaji thought, when 25 lakh Indian soldiers started uniting against a measure of 40,000 British officers, the Britishers saw no other option but to retract. Therefore, the Red Fort trial and Netaji's immense hard work and dedication led to the independence of India on 15 August 1947. My friends, Netaji fought valiantly along with the Japanese forces and inspired thousands of Indian youth. His fight for the Indian freedom movement was remarkable. He was a brave and courageous leader. His sacrifices and struggles can never be forgotten indeed. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Ladies and gentlemen, as students of Delhi Public School, Bangla East, we, Ashriya and Melanie, are excited to announce that EduTV has started a movement for higher education for all.
We are proud to inform you that corporates and Indian private universities have joined this movement by offering scholarships to eligible schools across the Indian subcontinent, Southeast Asia, Gulf countries, and Africa.
These scholarships are based on merit, sports, extracurricular activities, need-based, principal's recommendation, innovation by students, girl scholars, wards of defense personnel, daughters and sons of teachers, admission aspirants from remote places, SAARC country aspirants, students who studied in war zones, single parent, students with more than 2 siblings, and students whose parents are not eligible for bank loans.
This is a fantastic opportunity for many students, and we are thrilled to see the positive impact it will have on their education. We urge other school corporates and universities to join this movement and
support higher education for all. Thank you.